look. Things might look a little different, and that is for a few reasons. One, it's like 1:30 in the morning, so if the lighting's all funky, I apologize. The second reason is because you, my friends, are in my brand new office. Okay, so I have been wanting an office for as long as I've been writing and, you know, slowly being published and stuff, and this week I have my very own office. I'm so excited. So I would show it to you, but it's really bare right now. I just moved a desk in here and I got bookshelf set up, but eventually I will show it to you because I'm so excited and so thankful, and it's just in time for October. Okay, anyways, I'm getting super off track as I always do. This video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I believe that you should read this fall. So let me grab the books that I wanted to talk about. This little guy, and then this little guy. Okay, so I don't have all of the books that I want to talk about, and I'll explain why. But so these are going to be, you know, like any of my lists. They're going to be like it's going to be pretty random. So it's not all like Stephen King books. It's not all one particular genre, but these are just good spooky books to read. I just remembered the third one. Oh yeah, no, I don't have that one. Okay, so these are just good spooky books to get you in the mood for Halloween and for fall. So the first book that I am going to recommend that you read is Pet Sematary. If you haven't read it, this is my favorite Stephen King book in the entire world. The description and the character development in this book is phenomenal. The language is just, it's so beautifully written. I love the character development in this book. I don't think I really need to give you a synopsis because, you know, it's about a pet cemetery. I really love this book, and I think that it's a really great spooky book. It's actually spooky when you read it. So I thought that this was a good first book to start out your October. Second up, I have Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes. So this is like your quintessential Halloween book here. So it's about two boys who are quite young, and they're growing up together, and this circus rolls into town, and so they're trying to save the town because they feel like something's afoot when nobody else really does. It takes place like the week leading up to Halloween, and it's a really fun read. It's very poetically written, and most of the time that's beautiful, you know, there's a lot of description and it's really beautiful, but there are some times when you're like, just say they walked into a library. But I think it's a really beautiful book, but this one's just so fun to me. I love the premise of it. I love the camaraderie between the kids, and I love that the kids are the ones that like take on the town. Now I wanted to give you variety, obviously, so this one's pretty spooky, and you know, the description in it, you're reading it late at night and you'll get goosebumps. This one's more of just like a fun take. Okay, the third book that I wanted to recommend to you, I've been going on Instagram and finding other horror writers, and I know that there's some great horror writers that just, you know, are just coming up, or that are indie writers or whatever. So I really wanted to take the time to explore some indie horror as well, and this is something that I'm going to continue to do. So this is just like a little taste of that. So the third book that I'm going to recommend to you is, I'm going to put a picture here because I don't have an actual tangible book. Okay, so this next book is called The Cult of Eden, and it's by Bill Halpin. I hope that I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And this is his debut novel. And I read it, and it is really, really good. So I wanted to tell you guys about it, and it's out October 1st, I believe. My cat yelling at my dog. So I'm going to link his information below so you guys can check it out. It's about a story of a man named Will and his family, and it's like a very quintessential like good versus evil novel. But what I really enjoyed about it was the character development throughout. Like, you really get to see the people, and it's not all like the good guys. They don't all possess great qualities, you know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, I love this guy, he's fantastic. Like, the main character Will is very unsure of himself, he's very hesitant, and you get to see such diversity within the good people. And then, you know, you get to also switch and see a lot of insight into the bad people as well. I don't know why I'm quoting this, like they pretty much are the good people are good people and the bad people murder people. But it's a really good book. I would recommend it only if you're okay with violence. It's quite violent, and it's about, well, I don't want to give too much away, but a family who is quite religious, and they run into people who are not, and then, you know, it unfolds from there. So I don't want to give too much away, but I thought that the character development was really great in it. I really enjoyed the story. It was quite brutal, but the story itself, the plot is really unique. The descriptions in it are really great. I just think he did a really great job, and for his debut Olive? Oh gosh. But for his debut novel, it's really good. So I definitely wanted to put an indie artist in there and get you guys aware of it, because it was a really good read, and I think that you guys would enjoy it too. So that is our third book. What was my fourth recommendation? Oh my gosh, yes, okay. My fourth recommendation is A Head Full of Ghosts by I think it's Paul Tremblay. I think that's how it's pronounced. Okay, so this book is called A Head Full of Ghosts, and it is such a fun book. So my best friend lent it to me. He said, here, you have to read this book. I don't know if you'll like it, but I really did. I said, okay. So I start reading it at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had no idea it was about like possession or anything like that, because that stuff kind of freaks me out more so than other genres. I went into it very blindly, not knowing what to expect, and probably 30 pages in, I was like, oh, this is creepy. The book is so good. It's so fantastic. I love the description in it. I love the subjectiveness of it. Me and my best friend both read it, and we both got completely different reads and ideas of what the story was about. I mean, we knew like the main structure of the story, but it's a very subjective tale in that you don't really know what's going on. It's kind of up to the reader to decide, and I really love stories like that. So it's about this family and a young girl. I don't want to, again, give too much away, but it's about a young girl who is suffering from signs of either possession or mental illness, and it kind of goes back and forth between the two, and within that, the family ends up getting a deal for a television show to explore the possession side further, and kind of to exploit that. It's just a really interesting, unique story, and I just loved it. It gave me goosebumps late at night. It creeped me out. The first night I read it, I finished probably 100 pages, and I texted my friend super early in the morning. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep, thanks. So I highly recommend this book. I haven't read any other novels from him, although I've heard that he has quite a few other really great ones, so I will be checking those out. The fifth book that I'm going to recommend to you, I've already talked about in a previous video, so if you've already seen this, then you already know that I love this book, but is The Exorcist. You can't get creepier than The Exorcist. This book terrified me. It was interesting to read the book because it was a bit different than the movie. So even if you've seen the movie, I do suggest that you read this. So this is by William Peter Blatty. It is The Exorcist. It is what the film The Exorcist was based off of. And it follows Damien, our priest, sorry my cat, through meeting Reagan and, you know, helping her with her possession. For these Halloween stories, for these 5 books, so I really wanted to stick with that kind of core Halloween theme. A lot of supernatural ghosts and demons and witches and all sorts of stuff. Let me know what you're reading this October. I would love some new suggestions just in case I run out of stories. And I think that's about it. And I will see you guys again on Friday. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful fall so far. Let's cross our fingers for some cold weather. Bye!